Hey Geekscapists, I'm here with a good friend of mine and a fellow Geekscapist, Neil Johnson, who actually listens to the show, and you've been listening to the show for like 2-3 years.
Yes.
And you've never been on, which is like an oversight on my part. Because I think what you do is actually cool. You make sci-fi movies.
Yes.
And we see each other at conventions. You definitely make the kind of stuff we should be talking about on Geekscape.
Yes.
And you even listen to every episode of Geekscape, yet we haven't had you on.
This is true. Well, I think part of that was my fault because I was working on Starship, and I thought, I don't want to come on there and say I've got a movie coming out in 1 year or 6 months, because it's like, people are going to forget, so I figured it'd be better if I come on the show when I have something to really talk about.
Starship Rising.
Starship Rising.
There's a trailer out. It's on YouTube. Search for Starship Rising. You'll see it. It's a pretty cool trailer.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's about.
Me either.
Like, wait a minute. I mean, all your movies are like big, bombastic, sci-fi, spaceship, invasion, alien type of movies. How would you describe your films, like from the source? That's how I describe your movies, just from seeing the trailers and the posters and stuff.
It's space opera.
Space opera.
Yeah, I like that because it's, you know, if you wanted to go back to what inspires me, it's always Star Wars and Dune.
Right.
And I don't know, I mean, everyone says Dune's it's a bad version of the movie and everything else, but, you know, Dune became one of those movies I watched once as a kid and was like, it's okay. And I saw it at the cinema. Then I saw it again, then I saw it again. It just grows on you. It's like Eraserhead, another David Lynch movie. It's just, you watch it 20 times and you can't get it out of your head. So Dune became that movie for me, and I just kept watching it and became a little obsessed. And if you look at a lot of my art direction, it kind of is that David Lynch Dune style of things. Yeah,
everything has ridges on it.
Exactly.
Everything has ridges or like a little bit of rust. Oh. On like nothing is like a clean silver. No. But it's the same used universe stuff that like Star Wars did.
Exactly.
Everything did it but the prequels, it feels like.
Yeah, and it's I know what he was going for with the prequels. I understood that because, you know, a lot of people talk crap about the prequels. Right. And I kind of understand it, but you know, here's the thing with George Lucas. If he just repeated Star Wars, you know, did the same thing, it'd be like, it would get boring. You know, if you look at Star Wars and you look at Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, they all have their own feel. They have their own sort of texture. And he kind of wanted to stretch himself as a filmmaker. You know, I think about this all the time. It's all I think about is Star Wars, to be honest with you. I'm sorry. But you know, you look at Episode 1, I can see what he was trying to do. And I think it looked like a love song to his son. You know, he didn't really make this movie for the fans. He made it for his son, you know, for 8-year-olds.
Has he said that, or is that something you
No, that's
think?
something I feel, because you look at his life and what he was doing, and he was, you know, he had I think, you know, Jet Lucas was about 8 years old about then at that time or something. So, you know, it's kind of that whole, you could see he was in that mode. He was in the child mode. And then as it grew up, you know, Attack the Clones was a little bit more, his son was going through puberty. Right. And
there's those sexual scenes, like Natalie Portman and like the bustier and stuff like that.
And they're very. I'd say it's almost emotionally immature, right? You know, in the romantic side of Attack the Clones is very immature, and you know, I watch it and it's like, I understand why people don't like the movie, but you know, there's this weird charm about it, you know, which is strange. I mean, it's. And then you get to Return of the Jedi, and it's like,
what is it?
Oh, sorry,
Revenge of
the Sith.
That's it.
All bets are off.
Right.
And it's, you know, it's like now he's getting serious, and you know, it was Revenge of the Sith. I can't stop watching. I've watched that like, I'm going to say about 200 times now.
What do you like about it? As somebody who only saw like the prequel movies once. Yeah. In the theaters. Well, I saw the first one twice because you need the second time to be like, wait, is that really? Yeah. You know what I mean? So as like somebody who is so excited for the new Star Wars movies, mainly because the prequels were not my cup of tea. Yes. And what you just said, honestly, is the probably the best justification for the prequels that I've ever heard anybody say. Like, literally what you just said on the show is the best argument for the prequels and justifying the tone of the prequels and the approach to the prequels as I've ever heard. So I just want to say that off the bat. Like, I think you got it. What is it about, like, Revenge of the Sith that you love the most?
You know, look, you give me goosebumps.
And I should, but like, I've
got goosebumps when I talk about it.
But like, I see, like, all I see is like the failure to acknowledge like the main protagonist. But then you're talking about traditional storytelling, which is something he did with the first like trilogy. You don't necessarily, as what you're saying, have to do that again with the second trilogy.
Yes.
But isn't it all a part of the bigger story? Like, can you have a bigger story where the first act, quote unquote, the prequels, is that divergent from the second act, and then we'll see what happens with the third act? Like, I don't know. I mean, we're all talking here.
I agree with you. I do. You know, I just see the disjointedness of it, and I think it would have been better to have Anakin Skywalker fully grown all the way through. You know,
and just have it be Obi-Wan witnessing Anakin the same way that it was Luke witnessing Anakin.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly, because it's hard to connect between the boy. And the late teenage adult, who was Anakin Skywalker, and the round-faced kid.
But you love Revenge of the Sith.
Yes, I look at the moments, and again, there's cringe-worthy moments in Revenge of the Sith, and you know, the things I go ooh, but I play for the moments. You know, for me, movie making is about moments.
Trailers.
No,
putting words in your mouth.
yeah, that's another story.
You don't even need to see the movie.
Yes, that's my film.
Nay.
No, we'll talk about that. But
I like your Starship. I like the trailer.
You haven't seen the film.
I haven't seen the film.
No, there is a story. But
okay.
But no, Revenge of the Sith. It's operatic.
Right.
To me, it's. I tell you, when I think about Revenge of the Sith, I think about. Let's just picture it. I think about two scenes.
Okay.
I think about the scene where the Emperor is attacking Mace Windu, with the lightning and stuff, and he goes no, and then throws him out the window, and that's like the best. But that's the scene it just goosebumps me every time. But it took about 5 listens, five viewings to get to that point, and it's like a drug. You watch that scene, and you've just got to watch it because there's so much. It's really well directed, but there's so much in that scene. The Jedi walk into the Emperor's room, and there's like 3 other Jedi behind. You know what I mean? And this is a really unique, original scene. I haven't seen that in any other film the way they did it. And it's like I remember watching it the first time. It's like, what are they going to do? What's going to happen? You can't predict what's going to happen. And the other scene is obviously where Anakin Skywalker gets burnt up by the lava pit. Look, see, I get goosebumps.
Yeah, you look like you have like chicken skin.
Yeah, but it's so horrific. I mean, see, the problem with me, I've seen a lot of life. I used to be a news cameraman years ago.
Really?
And
Where'd you grow
up? Partially in England, partially in Australia.
Okay.
And so I've seen life, and I've seen dead bodies, and I've seen people horrifically injured. And when I saw this, with his limbs off and he's burnt to a crisp, but he's still alive. I mean, this is a nightmare. I mean, I put myself in Anakin's shoes and think wow.
Well, he doesn't have shoes at that point.
No, they were burnt off.
Yeah.
Yes, but...
You put yourself in
on
his
stumps.
Yeah,
I slide into his...
Right.
Yes. But imagine what he's feeling at that moment. His soul is torn out, but also his body is... I mean, he's lost his limbs. His body's burnt to a crisp, and he's still alive.
Right.
And I mean, this is horrific. And yeah, I know it's a bit silly when he becomes the Frankenstein thing. No,
yeah.
I get it. I know it's not the best choices, but I've made terrible movies in my life. I like my movies, but a lot of people don't. But I understand. When you're so wrapped up in that world, you make choices. You think of the right choices. You don't know how people are going to react. It's just how it is. And there's crappy moments in Star Wars and Return of the Jedi. In Empire, nothing really bad in that.
The only thing I don't like about Empire, and it's one of the things I don't like the most about the Holy Trilogy, is the reference to Judeo-Christian religion when he goes, "And I'll see you in hell." And I'm like, wait, what?
I didn't even think about that.
He goes, "You'll freeze before you get past the first marker."
Yeah.
And then Han Solo literally says, "Then I'll see you in hell." And I'm like, you guys don't have hell. You don't have hell, heaven or hell. I mean, I don't know about the Corellians. Maybe they're all like Judeo-Christians. But if it's a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away,
that's true.
Why would they have a human Earth-based concept?
Well, maybe
of heaven and hell?
They're not speaking English. They would have to.
They're definitely not. Yeah,
they've translated from whatever language they're speaking, and maybe there was a mythical dark place
called. Maybe it's hell with one L.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Or but it's translated. Remember, these are translations from the Journal.
Or 3 L's.
Yeah.
But maybe it's just not our hell. But he says it, and it always, even as a kid, it took me out.
Do you know how nerd-like this is?
Well, it's Geekscape.
I know.
But this is where we can do these things.
Yes, I know.
And honestly, at conventions, we're always seeing each other, but in 5-minute increments. Mm-hmm. So we never get a chance to have these conversations. No. But this is absolutely what this show is for.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your movies. because you make these movies, and I don't see how you pull off these special effects. And like, we were just in your office looking at your, 3D modeling of some of the spaceships and stuff, and you saw the starship from Starship Rising, and I'm like sitting there going, how do you pull this off? Because like I kind of know the budget amount you work within, and it's aggressive.
Yeah. Oh,
like you make these movies, and what I like about them is it's not like stuff like Asylum.
No.
Like it's.
Though we do cross swords a bit.
But I was in a meeting last week, and we were talking about Geekscape, and we were talking about like nerd content, and the stuff that doesn't work is about us. The stuff that does work is of us. Does that make sense? And like I had to think about it a bit, and it was like FUBU. You know FUBU, the T-shirt brand, from us, by us.
Yeah, but
or for us, by us.
That's so profound.
I thought it was profound when I heard it said to me. It was like, you know what? Somebody literally said, you know what we like about Geekscape? And it was somebody we were looking to partner with. And they're like, do you know what we like about Geekscape? It's from us, not about us. And I was like, what? And they were like, that's why Joss Whedon's Avengers works. Because even though it has like story flaws, you can tell he's a geek. And you can tell it's a love letter. That's why Guillermo del Toro works and Zack Snyder doesn't work. And I think Zack Snyder actually, I like some of his stuff. But I thought about it. Yeah. And I was in the car and I was like, yeah.
It's from the soul. It comes
from the soul. And so when we're talking about the crossing swords with something like Asylum, that always feels like it's for us. About us, the stuff that you make seems like it's literally from somebody who literally just said all that stuff about Star Wars.
Yeah.
And that shows in the movies.
Sometimes. Well, this is a journey.
There's always constraints to filmmaking, right?
Oh.
There's always production, budget, whatever.
Let me give you the journey.
Right, give me the journey.
And I'll tell you the mistakes. Yeah, I like to talk about my mistakes because I've made a few. And I learn from every mistake, or I think I do. And that's the secret, I think. It's the mistakes we make. That's what teaches us. My first film, Demons in My Head, it's the world's first digital film.
Right.
I think it was. I don't know if that's true. I'm pretty sure it's true. I know it's definitely the world's first digital science fiction full-length feature film. This is for sure.
What year was that?
97.
But how did you make that?
Okay, well, I ran a production house.
Your long hair is brushing the mic.
I'm sorry.
Your long white snake hair.
I look like David Coverdale from Whitesnake. Dude, it's surprising how much I look like him sometimes.
Well, you can't live in Van Nuys because like all those dudes live up here, and you're gonna get confused for them.
He lives up the road. I had lunch with his band. Sorry, was it lunch? No, dinner. I was at Fireflies, and 3 members of his band were there. Of Whitesnake. Because I know, I work with all these heavy metal bands, and we're having dinner, and we're chatting. And one of the guys said, look, we just got to tell you, you're exactly like our boss. You have the same mannerisms as David Coverdale. You look like a younger version of him. It's creepy, they said. You are exactly the same. And it's like, I've never met the guy.
And then Tony Kattan came in.
Oh, I wish.
You go out of the parking lot, she's crawling on your car.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah. So 1997.
Okay.
What do you use in 1997?
Okay. Well,
I mean, I got to tell you, like the Wing Commander games that Chris Roberts was making with like Mark Hamill and all that, like Wing Commander 3 and 4, with those CD-ROM games, those were fully computerized, and I looked at them as films.
Yeah.
3 and 4 had like Malcolm McDowell in them and stuff like that. I loved those games.
Yeah, well, that was the production value then. And
right.
Well, okay, back then, I had a digital Betacam camera, 16:9, and it's the first digital camera that was widescreen and everything else. So that means you're starting digital. So we shot on digital Betacam, and then we had a brand new editing system called the Stratosphere, which later got bought and became Final Cut Pro.
Okay.
So we had a thing called the Stratosphere. We edited on this nonlinear system in digital, and it was all I did all the effects in digital as well in this thing.
But are you shooting against green screen at this point?
No, shooting live location.
Okay.
Green screen wasn't that good. It's been the green screen I hate, but it's been a journey for that.
You probably needed a major budget like they had with the Wing Commander games to do green screen, blue screen.
Even then, it didn't look good. You standard
No,
definition.
it looked like
like crap.
I loved it because I was like, it's Mark Hamill in a space game.
I know.
I loved those games.
Well, you see, as I said, so we did this thing. It was kind of a bunch of people talking in a room, but I couldn't be happy with that. So I put Demons in there, and I first for movie, and I kind of undersold myself. I did all these short movies and all these TV shows and explosions and stuff, and then I came to do my own movie, and I was like, well, let's just stick it in a room. That's what you're supposed to do. And I mean, I had spaceships in it and special effects and everything else, and I got it finished in digital, and then we output it directly to 35mm film. So the workflow was digital all the way, output to film, and it played in the cinema. It got released on VHS and DVD followed after that, and got released worldwide. We hit number 7 on Blockbuster top 10 in the UK and stuff. Never got paid for the movie, of course.
Right.
Screwed pretty badly. But, you get the movie out, and that's kind of how it went. And then it was like, okay, I invested like 25 grand in the film. And I didn't get anywhere. My movie was sold worldwide, but I never got a cent. So then I had about 2.5 grand left in the bank, literally. And I went and made the second movie, which was To Become One. And
you made it with the 2.5 grand.
Yeah. And that was a blessing, because when you have no money, you say to people, we have no money.
Right.
And they don't expect money.
Yeah, they either want to play or they don't.
And they all wanted to play because I had a successful movie.
Right.
And that was the blessing. So I made that movie, and it got released, and we made profit instantly.
Of course. He had nowhere to go but up.
Yeah, we did. And we actually made a profit. And then it was about to be released worldwide. We had 7 pages in Fangoria magazine. They did a massive article on the movie because it's a horror film.
Right.
And this is on when I think, Blair Witch Project came out. And they cost $35,000 for their movie. And they all, look how wonderful it is. We made a movie for 35 grand. I made this for 2.5 grand, which was the exact number, 2154. And if you watch Bowfinger, do you remember Bowfinger? Okay, remember he said, every movie costs $2,154. Well, it's exactly what my movie cost. That was this weird coincidence. I was like watching Bowfinger. I was like, what the fuck? This is... Yeah. Can I swear in this?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, thank you.
It's the internet.
Excellent.
Neil's nude right now, by the way.
Yes. It's a very white-looking person. I've been locked indoors. But it was I got the movie out, and we got so much press. And then the company that was going to release it, they went broke.
Right.
So that was a heartbreaking thing. But around this time, this is the George Lucas connection. I think in 1999, George Lucas just finished episode 1. He came to Australia, and he was scouting around looking, to shoot episode 2 in Sydney. So I went to the Screen Producers Association meeting, and he and Rick McCallum were there. And they I was running around telling everybody I did a digital film.
Right.
And everyone was giving me like dirty looks, and they thought I was a complete douchebag. And I mean, they were rude to me, these people. This is in Australia.
Well, was it because they were invested in the format that existed?
Yeah. And, why would you do this? You're an idiot. Talk to us when you do a real movie. But meanwhile, I'd sold more territories than these people.
Right.
They'd done one movie and maybe sold one territory, Australia, where they made I never sold Australia. I sold internationally. And so I was in this weird sort of realm. And then, the movie came out, nobody cared. And the next minute, George Lucas gets up on the podium, and I wish I had a copy of this, but he actually said, there's pictures and stuff, but he said, he was talking about the future of filmmaking being digital, and everyone went silent.
Right.
And then he said, people like Neil Johnson, and mentioned me in front of all these people.
How did he hear about you?
Well, I don't know. I don't know how he originally heard. I was in the
press. Because George
Lucas
Lucas knows everything.
Yeah, exactly. I was in the press.
Right.
Well, actually, I think he heard about me from Rick McCallum, because my producer at the time, Jane Rowland, she was running around flirting with him, I guess, or chatting with him.
But the selling point of the film was digital.
Yes.
In the future.
And they spoke, and so later on I got to sit down and chat with them, and they asked me all the questions.
You got to chat with George Lucas?
And Rick McCallum. Well, George I spoke to for about 5 minutes.
Sure.
Rick McCallum I spoke for about 3 hours.
Wow.
In about 3 different time periods, and he's a chain smoker. Oh my
okay.
God. But, we chatted and spoke about the digital process of how I try to make the film look like 35mm, and had all these tricks. Back then it was kind of new territory. So they were fascinated with it, and then I gave him a copy of the movie. Now, I know he watched it, and this is a weird thing.
Because that's episode 2.
Well...
I'm messing with you. I'm kind of messing with you.
But this is the thing.
What was your movie about?
Well...
Show me some
this is a show and tell. I apologize for a podcast.
No, that's all right. We can put some of these photos in the... Okay, so let me see this. Yeah, Neil makes a book to kind of promote himself and promote like all of his films. So he actually prints out a lot of the stills and things from his books, from his movies, puts them in a book, and he uses those as sales.
Now look at that spaceship. Does that not look like the spaceship from Star Wars Episode 2?
Again, I only watched it once.
Okay, well, that does. Trust me. Which...
Right, but they could also look like a little E-wing or a B-wing.
I know, it's a big giant space cruiser. That's not the only thing. I thought that was kind of cool. My spaceship looked like theirs. I was first, but the reality was now, and I have to put this online one day.
Right.
What actually happened was there's a cut scene from Star Wars Episode 2 where Padme's talking with a mum in the kitchen doing the washing up by the kitchen window, and they're having this conversation. And my opening scene for my film was that exact scene. Now, when I say the exact scene, I'm talking about 6 lines of dialogue are identical.
Word for word.
Word for word. And I was watching this cutscene in episode 2. I was like, after they put out the DVD, I was like, oh my God. And it's like, it's so bizarre watching this. And it's, maybe there's a word change here or there, but it's pretty much the exact same conversation, same setting, same vibe, same everything. And I was like, did George Lucas rip me off? And I mean, I'm not trying to say anything. I'm not going to sue him ever because, why would you? But I was so amused by the fact that somehow I'd affected him either consciously or subconsciously.
Line for line's not exactly subconscious.
Well, you got to see them. You got to see them side by side. And
okay.
That's conscious. I'm not saying line for line. Right. But I'm saying it's so close. It's ridiculous. And
Maybe
I know he saw the film. I don't know if you watched the whole movie, but it was in the beginning of the movie. So then I'm watching that, and I mentioned this to one of the guys later who worked on Star Wars Episode 1 and 2, the guy who designed Darth Maul.
Right. Oh, yeah. I met him at Comic-Con through
Space Command. And he actually said, look, George will do that. He said, that's very possible this really did happen. Because I said to him, could this have happened? He said, yeah. George does it all the time. He borrows, he steals, he takes ideas from everywhere. It's very, very likely he did rip you off.
Right.
But that's how he is. And he said, but he just said he's heard that story before, or similar stories. So I found that a great compliment, and it was like the coolest, weirdest thing about that. So it just taught me that I was on the right path. So then I ran off and did my third movie, Battle Space, which we shot in Arizona. I mean, that's a story in itself, and I don't want to go into it today. We shot it in Arizona in the desert, and I nearly lost my pants on that. And I mean, we shot it
hot as hell,
dude. No, we had these investors who were like putting in like $800,000, and then they dropped the ball when we were there ready to shoot. They were supposed to pay the deposit. They didn't pay the money. And so we're kind of stuck in the desert.
And everybody's sitting there, ready to...
Yeah, and then everyone left, and I was left with a couple of actors and myself, and so we rewrote the film, and we shot the film. But, of course, it was in the middle of summertime, so it was 125 degrees.
Right.
And it was... I had a DVC Pro HD camera then.
So that's when it became... We went from Construct 3 to, or Continuum to, Battle Space.
Yeah, I changed... Well, we changed the name. There's a reason why we changed the name, if you want the truth. Do you want to know why it's called Battle Space? I'm
guessing it's a legal thing?
No.
Oh, no.
No. Let's see what came out. It was marketing. It was Battlestar Galactica just came out, was the hot thing.
Right.
And so it was called Construct 3, then Continuum.
Oh, you changed it to Battle Space. Let me see the logo. Let me see if the logo looks the same.
Yes. We just through the book.
Yeah, well, the logo actually looks more like Battleship.
Yeah. I know, but this is before Battleship.
I know, but that logo looks like Battleship.
It does, doesn't it?
Straight up Battleship.
Yeah. That's kind of cool. I didn't even notice that. But it was a me movie, and it's not a great film, but it's kind of, there's something nice about it, and that's what you do when the chips are down. So then it's like but the thing is, then I sold the movie. I had a great sales agent, and it actually made a profit on that film.
Would you say that this stuff is straight to video? Well, how would you describe this stuff?
It's straight to DVD.
Straight to DVD.
Yeah.
And soon it'll be straight to VOD.
Well,
don't you think?
It already is.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the path now for a release. It's video on demand first, then iTunes, and then Blu-ray and everything else.
Somebody put out a book, The Films of Neil Johnson.
Yes.
Who is that? Is he a wacko?
Yes.
The person who put out the book's a wacko, right?
Completely.
Because
I would consider
I consider what we do is fairly niche, right? And
yes.
I think you consider what you do is fairly niche, and then all of a sudden there's some dude who puts out a book about niche filmmaking, but then on the reverse, is the internet not the perfect place to put something like that out? Because I feel like niche stuff is being celebrated because as the Avengers go mainstream and as things go mainstream, comic books and all the things that we held dear and were niche back then are now going mainstream. People are looking for the niche to call their own, and they're looking for the things to hold dear.
Yes.
And so I actually think that it's an advantage to people who are quote-unquote niche because they find them more like fervorous followers who are louder.
Yes.
And they will do things like put out the book called The Films of Neil Johnson and tell people about it.
Yeah.
Mavens, I guess, is the word for them. The
people
who spread the word.
Well, I think that's nice. What I think it is, look, I pick up a few fans along the way. People watch the movie. Mm-hmm. Well, okay, here's
we got to have a gauntlet.
Well,
where we watch a few of these in a row.
There was 4 people in this world who watched my first movie and second movie and formed their own little club. Religious club.
How many people were there?
4. And there's a documentary on that too, by the way.
There were 4 people who got together and just made like a Neil Johnson movie club.
Yeah, well, a religious group, I believe.
Religious?
Yes, the Order of the Nephilim.
You're gonna get fucking like you're gonna get killed. You know
there's
that,
a half an hour documentary on this. It was put on television in Australia.
So these people that worship you, can we say that?
They don't worship me anymore.
Okay, so these people who are your fans.
Yes.
I
think they.
That's scary, right? Like those people want to remove your skin and like wear you,
well,
right?
One of them was a stripper.
That's what I'm saying,
dude. And they were trying to get demon possessed by these things.
Okay, so the fact that they can't get laid is not an argument because she obviously could. Oh, that kind of stripper. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So that doesn't scare you?
Yes.
The intensity of it?
Sometimes, okay, what scares me is when people start drawing images of me. And there was one girl, and she's wonderful, in Russia, who started drawing like about 20 or 30 images of me.
And it's not just the guy from Whitesnake?
No, it could be. I don't know if I have a copy of that. It's not in there. But,
okay.
But I mean, I have a whole bunch of works of art of me, and interpretive art, too. It's kind of strange. I'm nothing special. But you see, people just get hooked into certain things, and they want to talk about the Nephilim or this or that.
And you don't think they're clowning you?
They could be. Well,
I mean, do you think people like your movies? Because they're like, as you said, you say some of these movies are bad.
Well, some people. I love my films, but the reviews. The reviews indicate they're bad films, but they're not really, in my opinion.
Do you think people are clowning?
Or I know these religious people. They were definitely clowning me for the publicity. But you got to remember, in Australia,
the Nephilim or whatever it's called.
Nephilim.
Whatever.
Nephilim. Anyway, but they were in Australia, and that's a smaller area.
Right.
And so anyone who's it's a very dangerous place to live.
Yeah, I hope that poison's claim them. That's what they get for clowning.
No, they still buy copies of my films.
Okay, keep them alive. Keep them alive.
Whenever they do orders, keep
them alive.
Yeah, but I know they were clowning, but it was very amusing at the time, and it was funny, and it was strange, and it was just weird. But it's because when you're a big noise in a small room, people pay attention.
Right.
And that's all it is. I'm not famous. I'm not special. I'm trying. All I'm doing is trying to make really good movies, and I care about my art, and I do this day and night. It's all I think about and all I care about. So I'm really obsessed,
But Neil, wouldn't your budgets, if you have a budget and the budget is already small by Hollywood standards, right? It's probably, our budgets are probably like minuscule by Hollywood. Why do sci-fi? Why do something that is so like special effects and budget intensive? Why not go back to what you did early and have people talking? People talking is cheap. Action is expensive. Special effects action is super expensive. And I'm talking about time and effort and stuff like that. Why not make a different kind of movie? Why sci-fi, especially at this level?
Because it's all I dream about.
That's all you dream about.
That's all I think about.
This is like exorcism for you. This is like demon exorcism for you. Like otherwise, these voices in their head are just going to stay there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's kind of like that. See, you go back to my childhood, and I've spoken about this many times in public, but my earliest memory was watching Neil Armstrong walk on the moon in 1969, July 21st. And I was a year and 360 days old.
That was just on Mad Men.
Was it?
Yeah, the Mad Men episode that just happened.
Oh, I gotta watch that.
Had a bit of that.
I need to watch.
It was a major part of that last episode. Was
I gotta see that.
Neil Armstrong walked on the moon, right?
Yeah. Well, it was my earliest memory. But see, here's what happened. We're in England. My dad took me outside and said, "Look, see the moon up there?
The fucking Americans got to it first."
Yeah,
is that what he said?
No. He said the guy on the moon is on the guy on TV is on the moon. And I said, how can he be on TV and on the moon at the same time? This is not possible.
Because he's American, that's why.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah, But I was so confused by this.
Right.
And then I found out he was American. And so that's why I had to come here.
You flew there like Superman.
Yeah.
But I mean, as a kid, how old were you? Do you think?
I was 2 when that happened.
You were 2. It's 1969. Mm-hmm. You're 2, and you're right. I mean, that would have warped your head. Was like thinking that the moon, which you see every day, well, at least for 2 years, and you have a concept of being the furthest thing away that you can possibly see because you can't look in the sun. They tell you not to. And there's a human being on there.
Yes.
And somehow he got there, and
he was on TV at the same time.
He was on TV.
This is incredible.
You were living in a sci-fi.
Yeah. I was screwed then at this point. And then 7, I think age of 7, I think it was, and my parents dropped me off to the movie theater for the first time ever,
right.
And that was Star Wars. And I was gone.
Right.
It's like somebody has gone inside my head and pulled out something that is so amazing.
What about like Planet of the Apes?
Oh my God, I was a freak for Planet of the Apes. I used to be an expert on Beneath the Planet of the Apes.
Right. That's the second one.
Yeah. I love that film, and I can tell you so much about that movie. If you ever want to do an episode.
Because I figure, until Star Wars came out, Planet of the Apes was all we had.
Yeah, and I was collecting all the comics.
Right.
And I kind of, in Australia, you didn't have access to Planet of the Apes like you do in the US. So you have to wait. And one day they put one of the movies on TV. I was like, my God, this is incredible.
Right.
I was so hooked. Again, but the best bits I liked was the spaceship, and the nice white spaceships. And the astronauts were so cool because they had white outfits and, that whole thing. And again, I was just obsessed with it, until then I saw Star Wars, and it just pushed me over the edge.
Yeah, it trumped it.
We're dealing with a drug addiction here, a mental drug addiction.
But what about televised Star Trek? Did that ever,
again, another early memory.
Right.
The first thing I ever saw on television in color was Star Trek. And my grandfather bought a color TV.
And what about Red Dwarf or Doctor Who?
Oh, that came later. Well, Doctor Who's another one. But no, I saw Star Trek in color in 1970. First broadcast.
Wow.
And it's all those colors, those buttons.
Right.
You know why they made all the buttons so colorful? It was because it was color TVs that just came out, and they wanted people to see color.
Right.
And and the red shirts were so impressive.
Well, the visual was impressive, and then they die.
Yeah, exactly.
The characters weren't impressive at all, right?
No, but it was
but you know what? That is a good way to keep cycling red shirts onto the screen.
Yeah. Well, it was all about the red shirts, you see.
Right.
And I remember that was so vibrant, seeing the red shirt. Then I saw Doctor Who, and it terrified me because when I saw that opening funnel with the John Pertwee episode, and it was a Silurian episode. I remember this when they were underground chasing these underground dinosaur human creature hybrid things, and it scared the crap out of me. And I was hiding behind the couch, literally peering up and watching that that big opening of Doctor Who, and I'm screwed at this point. Star Trek, Doctor Who, Star Wars,
Lost in Space.
Oh yeah, and then again in Australia,
Land of the Lost.
Land of the Lost, of course, everything. Lost in Space. I mean, in Starship, I rip off a little homage to Lost in Space. There's one of the characters gets in he has a secret code, and it's Aeolus 14 Umbra, which is from the original Lost in Space pilot.
Okay.
It's a very, very vague reference, and one person has already seen this and got it because they're into Lost in Space. But
that's intense.
Yeah, but I'm always
they're going to start another religion.
I know. I'm always putting these things in there because it's out of love, and people will recognize that and say, okay, this guy gets it, and it's just, I have to throw these things in there. I can't help myself. Though the problem is, I've kind of done a little, I've paid homage, as they say. I hate that term, but I've done those sort of little tweets.
Love letters. I call them love letters.
Yeah, I've thrown love letters out, but now I've exhausted that to the point where I just want to be so original and so on my own page that I don't want to copy anybody.
When did you get that feeling? Was it with this Starship Rising?
No.
It was before that.
Let me try to think when I really kicked into that. I mean, the notion has been there many times, but I keep falling back.
Why have that notion? Why not just keep doing things referentially like some filmmakers do? You know what I mean?
It's about art, and this is the thing. When I look at a movie like Star Wars or Dune, they didn't have a reference point.
You don't think so? You don't think Star Wars was a bit of a 2001 reference point?
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, you don't think that Dune had a bit of a reference point?
Well, they did, but they didn't...
I think that it's 80% original, and then 20% is like the basis for letting the audience connect with the material.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Does that make sense? Because if you're 100%, then I think you're making experimental movies.
Well,
something has to be derivative.
Yeah,
but the audience doesn't have a connection.
Well, see, when I was a kid, I never saw 2001. So for me, Star Wars was the fresh movie.
Got it.
I was like, where did this come from? And, we're in an isolated country where you don't see much stuff or media. Yes, I'd seen Lost in Space, but that was about it.
Of course, Flash Gordon. Like, you look at Star Wars, you have to know Flash. I mean,
but I never saw it.
Right. But I'm just going back to saying that Star Wars was derivative, and that was the thing about it. It celebrated all that stuff. Exactly. It celebrated all those serials.
Yeah. And well, this is what I'm fighting with creatively myself. I get the idea of being inspired by something, but the notion of finding something within yourself that's so original and unique, and you've never heard that voice before. That's the challenge. You can't help but be influenced by every movie that you've ever seen because it gets stuck in your head. I was listening to Ridley Scott talk about this. He was saying, why hasn't he done science fiction, at all since Alien and Blade Runner? He said, because there's nothing original.
Right.
He says, we're all ripping each other off, and it's so true. But he said he tried to find an original, unique voice in Prometheus. But don't get me started on Prometheus. I'm one of the people who actually likes the film.
Well, I liked the movie too.
I loved it.
I mean, I know all the faults about it.
Course.
Like The guy who makes maps is the one who gets lost. The guy who's the biologist is the one that treats the cobra like a freaking dog. Like, it doesn't make any sense. But that being said, you gave it a chance.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, the X-Men movie, we just talked about how much we love the X-Men movie. The whole plot is about stopping a bullet. The entire plot is to send a Wolverine back to stop a bullet. They get a character named Quicksilver. Halfway through the movie, there's a miraculous scene where he runs around a room and stops 9 bullets in less than a second. And they kick him off the damn team. Why? It didn't make any sense.
I haven't seen the movie.
Well, they send Wolverine back to stop somebody from being assassinated.
Who was being assassinated?
You know, Trask. Trask, the dude who creates the Sentinels.
Oh, okay. Not JFK or anything.
No.
Not that Star Trek episode.
No, they do work in the JFK assassination, Magneto and all that stuff. But I recommend X-Men, but if you look at the plot, it makes no sense. That the entire movie is based on stopping a bullet, and there's one scene that showcases a character's ability to stop bullets like no other. And then they just get rid of
it. It's like the most perfect, you know, Swiss Army knife you'll ever have.
I mean, I'm in the process of writing a feature film now, and and there's a little bit of logic, and I'm writing on the second or third draft, and I keep thinking to myself as I think about this stuff, because comedy, I think, comes easy to me, but I've been thinking about like action movies, science fiction movies, and like horror movies, where the character plays stupid for convenience of plot. Because like if the person doesn't make stupid decisions, then the alien doesn't exist, or the plot doesn't happen, or the disaster doesn't occur. And there are so many movies where the protagonist does things that are stupid that you end up actually not liking them. And I thought like a little rule in my head. I said, okay, here's the rule. If your protagonist acts stupid for the convenience of the plot, then like Lost.
Yes.
Like in Lost, when they wouldn't talk to each other and share things like, oh, I don't know, there's a monster out there.
Yes.
You're no longer writing an action movie, or horror, or a sci-fi. You're writing a comedy.
Yes.
Because in a comedy, somebody can be stupid for the convenience of the plot, because it's stuff like that exists.
Yeah.
But in a horror movie, an action movie, or sci-fi, all you're doing is undermining the severity of the situation and the stakes.
Yeah.
You know.
Because people are you
don't want to root for an idiot.
Yes.
You want to root for a hero. And the stakes are that much greater than them.
Yeah, but you want to respect your hero. Not
you have to respect them. Oh my God! Like you see some of these movies and they're just making stupid choices, and you're like, okay, well, I guess I can watch a comedy.
Yes.
That sold itself as something
as a
other.
Serious film.
Right.
I've had that problem. See, like I think I can tell you what happens there. You write a certain film, and then you think, okay, I need to have, you need to fix something in the plot. There's nothing engaging here. You need some twist or turn, and so you think, well, what if you do this? What if you do that? And you'll end up imposing something upon the character that maybe he shouldn't have done, but you've got to move the plot forward.
It's tough because all the threads are connected to each other. Yeah. So like you try and fix one thread and something else gets undone.
And that's the problem.
Right.
And you are dealing with such a complex thing. And when I'm doing science fiction, there's a lot of story in my stuff, and it's so complicated. The one thing I'll say about my films, if you watch them the first time, it's like, oh yeah. You watch it the second time, the third time, the fourth time, then it starts to make more sense. And that's what people said to me. It's like, when I see that your movies after 5 times, I see a new layer. And it's because all those threads. But yes, you can sabotage yourself because you want to put that sort of complexity in it. And you've got to have something happen here to keep the audience engaged. So that's why you might do that. I mean, I did that on Humanity's End, which was my 6th film. It was written more like something like Red Dwarf crossed with Star Wars. It's meant to be that type of thing. Red Dwarf, if you haven't seen it, is a British comedy sci-fi, one of the greatest shows I've ever seen.
Right.
But, that's I was kind of going a little bit in that direction, and then my sales agent saw it and said, look, the problem with comedy, it doesn't translate internationally.
Right.
It does not. And Red Dwarf translates to German okay, doesn't translate to Italian, it does not translate to Russian, does not translate to Spanish very well. It's the style of comedy, like Germans have a certain sense of humor. If you've ever been to Germany, their humor is very, that's funny, it's very simple.
No, but I mean,
humor.
You get it when you look at like I was looking at the blended posters, the Adam Sandler movie that came out, and they literally look like posters selling a Hispanic film.
Yes.
Like they don't look Americanized at all. They look like something I would have seen in Guadalajara as a kid trying to sell a local Mexican film.
Yeah, and that's probably hitting that audience.
Ay, que chistoso. Adam Sandler está en un, he's riding
crazy.
Around on an ostrich. It's like, oh, que chistoso. I'm like, it's so physical and loud that I think, I think that's the only way to sell a comedy is to be like, oh, there's a chicken coming out of his ass. Well, you know what I mean? Yeah. And it doesn't work.
Well, it does. So you got to remember international sales, and I get it. So like Mr. Bean.
Right.
That works internationally because he's crazy and he doesn't have to speak much. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
there's a different pace and a different tone and setup and payoff when you have a different cultural convention.
Yeah, and that's the problem. You want to sell to Spain, you've got to do a certain type of comedy. You want to sell to Germany, you've got to do a very rigid type of comedy. Right. And and that's the problem I hit with Humanity's End. It was a lot of subtle humor. Now it's funny because the best responses from Humanity's End came from the UK and from Canada, which is bizarre because I think they get my humor. Mm-hmm. And people in the US were maybe, and I cut a lot of the humor out of it, by the way, too.
Let's put it back in.
I want to.
Try it out.
I want to.
I mean, you kind of do, because...
I do the George Lucas thing. I'm not happy with the movie. I go and fix it later.
Judd Apatow tests his movies like 20 times.
I don't blame him.
He tests his comedies 20 times, and sometimes the only thing he'll change are just different takes of a joke.
Yeah.
Or like a different response. Like, he will tweak and tweak and tweak and tweak a film.
Yeah.
And he just barely changes much more than takes, or he'll include a joke or remove a joke, and just test it. I mean, something that crucial when you're thinking about the just having the end result of so many jokes. By the end of the movie, it either exhausts you or it satisfies you.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And it's all about energy
and pacing. And you got I actually plot my movies on a graph.
Okay.
And you look at your highs and lows. So you've got to have a character high moment, usually in a point where there's a action low moment. So that you have time to. You kind of want to pull people's emotions left, right, and center. So the way I write a film is
What's the sequence approach?
Yeah. Well, it's all structure.
Right.
Everything's structure for me, and I learned that on my second film because I put a little twist in the story where this character you thought was one person was another person. 3/4 of the way through the movie, I remember watching it in the theater, and I had this character moment, this great character turn, and it was about 75 minutes into the movie, and I could feel the energy in the cinema suddenly rising. Everybody, when that moment happened, everyone shifted and they got excited again because I think they're all falling asleep. Mm-hmm. And I think you need to have some structure in there to keep people going. I've had that too.
You put nudity in some of your films?
Yeah.
I think we just sold a couple of DVDs.
Well, I can tell you which ones they are. First two films.
No, make them look. Or make them buy the box set.
Well, the ones to buy, I know. Yeah, I know. Well, I tell you, do you know why I put titties in my second? Okay, well, I got to tell you what I did.
I like how you're...
Dude, do you want to, there's a picture in my book if you want to see them.
Wait, what?
Yeah, covered in blood.
Never mind.
Okay.
You sick bastard.
I know. It's no fun when you're doing audio. But, I took my first two movies and I got screwed on them internationally by all the distributors. So I took them back and I recut the films and shot extra scenes. Uh-huh. And I remember being in a meeting with a distributor for horror films, and they said, look, all we do, and they're honest with me, they said, we only watch the first 10 minutes of a film.
Right.
If we don't see tits and blood in the first 10 minutes, we don't buy it. And I thought, So I thought to myself, if I'm going to add some scenes to become one, and then I'm going to rename it, and I've renamed it Bipolar Armageddon, I better put tits and blood in there. I mean, film number one already had titties and blood, so I was okay with that. But I thought I better put tits in there. So I got my girlfriend at the time, I was living in New York, and we did a death shower scene with lots of blood and, body pieces cut off and stuff. And I had tits and blood in the first 10 minutes.
Honey, do you mind doing this scene with me? It was like that.
She loved it.
Because you always date all these actresses.
Yeah. Dude, I realized I had a fetish for girls covered in blood and naked.
Wait, what?
Dude, it was like this moment. It's like, my God.
How old are you? 9?
No. I would have been about 35.
At 35?
I started late. I didn't know I had this fetish, and I was like,
what year did you lose your virginity? What age?
21.
Oh, that is late.
Yeah, I know. And then I did it two more times.
Well, sorry to all the 22-year-olds who are listening to this. And it's not a pressure. It's not a social thing. I don't want to give you guys a complex. Run your own race. Go at your own pace.
Well,
but 21 traditionally,
I got married at 25. I had sex 3 or 4 times, then I got married.
Right.
Then I had to figure out what to do with it. Then I got divorced, and then it changed. My life changed.
Right.
I grew my hair, looked like a rock star. Had to attract women.
But at 35,
yeah,
you don't still have this thing, do you?
It's there. Yeah.
Girls covered in blood.
Oh my God. Dude.
That's not alarming to you? Some of the alarms don't go off in your head and you go, oh, maybe I should try and be yourself.
No, I don't know. It's not. It's just the blood thing over the boobs. Yeah, that's all it is. It was so cool. And it was so interesting. I was like, it was artistically, it's the color red on boobies. I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's just one of those things. Now you've embarrassed me, you see. I've given away my secret.
Whatever.
But, it was one of those moments, and I put it in a movie. And it's just how it's how my brain works. And I just get weird inspirations. There's another scene in this film. This gets really disgusting.
Go for it.
Okay.
What movie were we talking about still?
Bipolar Armageddon.
Bipolar Armageddon.
I shot some extra scenes to remake the movie so I could re-release it.
And sell it, yeah.
And, Bipolar Armageddon and Nephilim, I kind of did them at the same time, But I have a real problem with child molesters. And
you should.
Well, I have a big problem with them. I don't like them, obviously.
Well, you shouldn't.
Exactly. Well, here's what I did. I like children. I have a daughter, so I have the feeling of, the predators are out there, and I'm always thinking. I was living in Auburn, New York, upstate New York.
Okay.
And we had this little application thing on the computer.
How the hell did you get there?
I was working for Manowar, heavy metal band.
I love Manowar.
Me too.
Luca Torelli and all those guys. I love all that
Rhapsody.
stuff. I know it's Rhapsody. I got that in my car.
Yeah, I know Luca. Yeah. Oh, that's a story.
I know.
Anyway, so I'm living there, and we had this thing on the computer. It's like, where are the predators living? And I realized we were surrounded by sexual predators, and they would tell you.
What year is this?
This was 2005.
And you're on the computer, and you're like, I'm just going to see where these motherfuckers live.
And they were all in the neighborhood. I mean, I could have walked to all the houses.
Yeah, it looks like your entire city has zits.
But there were child molesters, too. And I mean, it was a prison town, so I think they just got out of prison.
Jesus.
Dude, I'm telling you.
Manowar's got to find a new place to live.
When they were born there, it was a nice town. And see, they changed the rule about prisons.
Right.
When you get out of prison, you're supposed to move at least 30 miles away from prison.
And all of a sudden, your map looks like chicken pox.
Yeah, because they changed the rules in upstate New York. So, I mean, it was horrible, But it was still nice people. You get nice people, and then you get the prison people.
Okay.
And it was creepy. So anyway, they were around us, and I was like, I get a little angry when I hear about child molesters and stuff, because, we've all been children once, we have children, we think about these things. And so I thought, because, these are low-budget movies, and I know one day a studio will tell me what to do and what not to do.
Right.
Why not explore what I need to explore now?
Do what you
in the blood,
I'm going to be told what to do, yeah.
And then so I had a scene where we had this sexual molester type person, and we use a rubber penis for it too,
Right.
Trying to see some bits. But he was sexually harassing a retarded person.
Really pushing the envelope here, Mr. Johnson.
I was pushing the envelope pretty badly.
Okay.
And you see quite a lot. It's pretty graphic. It's not over graphic.
So he's trying to
it's not pornographic.
Yeah, he's trying to rape this retarded person.
Yeah, he makes,
right.
It's
he
all done in silhouette.
On whatever.
Yeah, and then...
done in silhouette.
Yeah, but you kind of, we caught the edge of the rubber penis
on
camera. So actually my two editors were working for me. They played each role. So it was even really funny scene, but it's not when you watch it. And so basically the punishment for that guy who was the sexual molester is we cut off his penis and choked him to death with it.
Right.
And, in a really bad, violent way.
Well, I don't think that's so bad.
But you kind of see everything.
It's just desserts.
As
far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, but
that's what I'm saying.
You wouldn't see that in a major motion picture, though.
Right.
And actually see the, And I got a bit of meat stuffed in the back of the rubber penis, and I thought I want to do that sort of message, and it's like, okay, this is it was an artistic choice. Right. I know it's very graphic, and it's to try to make it, but it was too far.
No, I think stuff like Human Centipede's too far. Yeah. I feel like stuff that doesn't have a moral compass is too far.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like what is the retribution for somebody who does the Human Centipede? Well, I don't know. He goes and gets a fucking sequel. You know what I mean? Like is there a lesson? I mean, I'm not talking about the director. The director can do whatever he wants, but like you're creating a piece of art or whatever that's like pushing an envelope, but like to what end?
Yes.
What are you actually saying with anything? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And like I worry about that stuff with it. And whenever I see like the torture porn stuff, I'm like, okay, well, all you doing is choking, keeping a puppy underwater? Because obviously, I don't think there's much to that.
No.
Like obviously, you're going to get a reaction, and that's not anything than like going up and like popping a balloon behind somebody's back. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I don't think there's much to that. But actually saying something about justice, saying something about like morality, saying something about our role and judge, jury, executioner, vigilantism, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
But like add a layer to it at least. You know what I mean? Have something that comes out of it.
Yeah.
I don't mind graphic for graphic. I don't mind that stuff. I mind stuff without consequence because you've just wasted my 2 hours. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If you I don't think you probably wasted 2 hours making this story about the dude who gets a dick shoved in his mouth.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
well, it wasn't. That was just a little byline in the story, but it came from a real place, because I mean, I had a situation when I was a young boy, and I know what it feels like to be on the receiving end of that.
And you put your own fucking inner rage, and you worked through some shit with your two editors and the rubber penis.
Oh hell yeah!
You were angry. Yeah. Was it hard to shoot that scene?
Yeah, it was a bit creepy. I'll be honest. The creepiest part of that was
What about writing that scene? Was it written? Did you ever have to put that scene on paper, or was it something that?
No, we put it on paper.
And what was that like?
That didn't bother me.
But it takes some trust to take somebody. I mean, did anybody during the creation of that scene be like, "Hey, Neil, did this happen to you?"
No.
So there was a secret.
Yeah, I guess so.
Did that stress you out shooting the movie, knowing that you couldn't be artistically honest with your collaborators and be like, "Guys, this is why we're doing this. It's not just shock. I'm coming from." Do you think does that make sense?
Actually, I think one of my editors knows the story a bit.
Because as an artist, I'm always thinking about like, even if you're talking about fantasy or sci-fi, I'm always thinking about like, okay, what's the human core of this? And do you share the human core of this with my actor or with my DP so that they can go to their human core and shape their performance based on it?
Yeah.
In you, if you're keeping a secret, you may not have been able to go to that human core in order to get that out of them. Does that make sense? Or maybe that's not your way of working. I don't know. We're just talking.
Well, here's the thing. With actors, you kind of... The secret is sometimes not to direct them.
Right.
Sometimes you just got to shut up and see what they have.
Oh, I gave Doug Jones one of the worst fucking directions of all time.
What'd you say to him?
No, I just wanted to play something to camera, and I was like, play... I forgot what I did, but it was fucking stupid. And he just looked at me like I was an idiot. The crew looked at me like I was an idiot. And guess what? I was an idiot. So I just had to quickly fix it. But it happens, you know what I mean? And the crew's like, I didn't even fucking know what you wanted. Like, everybody's looking at you like, what? Yeah. But we did it with Doug, which I love Doug.
I've worked with actors for years. And I've learned to stop directing them too much because they know that if you get the right actors, they should know their job.
Right.
I like somebody trying to tell me how to direct is a bit silly because I've had people try to do this on my set sometimes. It's like, it's silly. No, it's like, dude, they obviously don't know what they're doing, and it's very silly ideas usually. But sometimes yes, depends on the person. But I let them do their own thing first because they may give me something I didn't expect. Right. They may interpret the information that I put on the piece of paper differently. So that's what I did with Emmett. I think Emmett did know a little bit about my history, one of my editors, who was in the film, the bearded, spastic.
And it seems like a closed set. If it's just you, your editors, maybe a DP, maybe a sound guy.
Yeah, it was.
And it was like 5 people.
3.
It was 3.
2 actors and me. And I set up the microphone on a boom pole. Oh, and I had the girlfriend in the room too. And that was it, 4 people on set.
Or else it would have gotten so gay. The 3 really dudes in a rubber cock, you guys would have started making a different movie.
Yes.
But like, was it cathartic for you making that scene?
Well, I'll tell you what creeped me out. There was a point where he creeped in really close, and he had a beard at the time.
Right.
Beards creeped me out. And he got in really close, and he started whispering to him and snaking around him. And it's the touching. The cockpit I didn't care about.
Right.
But it was the way he kind of got creepy with him and whispered in his ear and just snaked around his body.
Were you having like Nam flashbacks?
Yeah. And I was like, oh my God. Without me saying anything, he encapsulated the spirit of that creep that I once encountered, between the ages of 6 and 10.
6 and 10, so there were several encounters.
4 years.
4 years? So it must have been somebody you fucking knew.
Yeah, it's a neighbor.
Do you still know this guy?
Okay.
You just need his address.
Yeah, dude. Well, his brother is one of the most powerful lawyers in Australia. So if I went after him, it'd be very hard to pursue.
Right. No, we're not going to do it through the system.
They were tied in exactly. They were tied in the IRA as well. They were our neighbors.
Wow.
Irish people, and very violent. I mean, they were usually on our team anyway.
That is so fucked up.
Yeah, but that's this one of the sons was a bit fucked up, and that's who he was, and so. That was the situation I was put in. The thing was, between the age of 6 and 10, it wasn't every day. It was like maybe once a month.
Sure.
And he was doing just creepy stuff.
And how much older was this kid?
Well, he was 21.
Jesus.
So, and he smelt weird, and he just had this weird hair, and he had, anyone who looks like that creeps me out to this day. But I hated it. I like girls. When I was 6, I liked girls. I love girls. And this guy was coming over and doing...
You could have lost your damn virginity by 12.
No, Well, here's what happened. He was doing weird shit to me, and I didn't like it.
He cost you some straight sex.
Yeah, for many years. I guess so.
Was it hard to be intimate with a person? Did you have intimacy issues?
No.
This is so not Geekscape anymore, but I think it's interesting.
Well, here's what happened. At the age of 10, I started doing karate, and I had this female karate instructor. She's a black belt, so tough. And she was making me break through roof tiles and bits of wood.
That's why you like bloody titties.
Yeah, probably.
Right.
That's a bit of blood.
So you're breaking through these boards.
Yeah,
you're
I was learning how to
flies
fight.
And chopsticks,
I wish I could do that.
Right.
But he came over one day. I remember his words. I just want to talk to you.
This fucker said that this kid came out?
All the time.
By that time, he's like, what, 22, 23, 24?
Yeah, he must have been at 23.
Right.
And he had girlfriends, too.
He's old enough to die, is what I'd say.
Yeah, exactly.
So keep going.
So he came around to my house. He creeped around. What would happen is every day I'd walk home from school, from the bus, and I'd see him waiting for me on the porch, and every day he'd make a walk around the back to come and see me. And I would run home, and most of the times I would avoid him.
Not answer the door, et cetera, et cetera.
I would hide or go to the neighbor's place. And this was not every day, but it started to become every day.
Did you tell anybody this was going on?
No.
Like, that's so
Never told my parents.
Fucking hard.
Never listened to this, I hope.
Okay.
And he would just, stalk me out every day, and I would get away. But one day, he caught me. And it was like, and he was coming across the I remember it was in the back side of my house, in the driveway, and he said, I just want to talk to you. I was like, and he got closer, and he got closer. And he got closer, and I made a fist, and I punched the crap out of him. And I was short. I was the shortest kid in my class.
Right.
I punched him in the face, and I thought, oh my God, I've hit an adult. And I ran to the neighbor's house.
And you're 12?
No, I was 10. I was 10. And I ran like crazy.
How hard could you have fucking punched him? You're a 10-year-old.
I think he was just shocked.
Totally.
Dude, it was a big punch, because I knew how to punch from Taekwondo.
From Grace Jones.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
She knew it. It was like,
right.
Karate Kid. But I ran like crazy, and I went to the neighbor's house, and I stuck there the rest of the afternoon, and he was a mechanic. He was a nice, friendly person. They're Christian people on the other side. And I hung out there for ages, and I was like nervous as hell, and I went home at 6 o'clock. And he never touched me again. He never came near me again. And that was the thing. I think he saw that there's some... I remember, stay away from me. And
these fucking people, they're predators, so any resistance is enough to deter their...
Well, I did this demon voice, too.
Shit.
And that's the thing, because I like doing voices. You stay away from me, like that.
Right.
And I hit him so hard, and I ran like crazy.
I mean, in reality, it was probably like, stranger danger.
Exactly. But he was 6 foot. In my head, I was.
You had to jump to hit him.
He was 6'2".
You pulled some Ant-Man shit.
He was big.
Right.
Yeah, and I ran like crazy.
Right.
But see, that was a turning point. That's where I learned my strength.
Right.
That's where I said, no, this is enough. And I knew that was wrong. And the thing was, and you see the theme in my films, I would always pretend when he was doing his weird shit, I would pretend I was with a girl.
Oh,
and I had to, because I hate this. It's like,
but that derails your ability to be intimate with a girl later on, because you have no, you know what I mean? Like I feel like maybe you didn't have a basis for an accurate representation of a relationship or something like your marriage. You know what I mean? Like you had a short marriage.
Yeah, but no, it's did
it affect any of that stuff?
A little bit.
It had to.
Well, here's what happened. I would pretend I was with a blonde girl, because he had dark, creepy hair and short hair. So I imagine it was a long.
Now you're a blonde girl.
I am too.
Holy shit!
Oh my God,
Neil, all this is falling out. Like,
oh my God! Okay.
Welcome to Geekscape. Shit's getting real.
Oh my God! Yeah, I just realized that. But I liked when
you become your own fucking avoidance fantasies. Like, this is fucking weird, man.
Well, what happened was,
do you masturbate looking at yourself in the mirror?
I should.
Well, no, you shouldn't. It's just a continuation of the same shit you did when you were 6'10".
There's been a couple of times.
I'm not going to even mention that there's a blonde woman in the house in the room with us.
Yeah. Hello. There was a time in Germany where there was a girl I had a girlfriend who looked exactly like me, and had the same hair and everything.
Neil,
we were kissing in the street in Cologne, and they were coming. The people, oh look, two girls are kissing. Ah ha ha ha. I turned around. It was a boy. I'm a boy, but it looked like two chicks. And I realized that most of the people I was going towards were kind of that, strong female blonde type people. But if you look at the films, most of the characters are there's a lot of strong female, especially in Starship. Look at her.
Yeah, look at her. She's blonde, long hair.
And they're strong. They play the roles of men. So, it does come back. There you go. There's you can see it's
and
always
Neil,
a
you
theme.
never wanted like gender reassignment surgery or anything like that?
No, not at all. I like being a man. I've thought about it. No, but it's something that's just, I guess it's in my soul. So you can see lots of bits of me in my films. I even designed the costumes. I'm so responsible for the way the women look in the films. I'm in love with fashion and hair and style and everything. So I want them to look specific. But it's where my head's at.
This is like, I mean, in all honesty, like filmmaking should be as pure an extension. I think any art should be as pure an extension of the artist as possible. With film, there are so many variables based on other people's input and collaboration that it's really hard to lose yourself. But at the same time, you can't be an egotistical jerk, and it should be a collaboration.
Should be. Oh, they have to be.
But I think that's a testament. that like you put these things in here, knowing the history, knowing like some of this personal stuff you've been through, or your life, your journey, as you called it earlier.
Yeah.
I think that's nice, and I think that's what will elevate you away from that asylum stuff. I don't think you have to fight against like redundancy or any of this, or fight against derivative stuff. I think you just make your movies as honest as possible, and that's the only thing that can actually deliver you from derivation.
Yeah.
Like just make your movies as pure and as honest as possible, and that's how you avoid being a knockoff of Star Wars, or they did that in BSG, or I mean, if that's a cognizant fear that you have when you're shooting, I think it's like the person who drives and looks at the side of the road and ultimately hits the side of the road.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, the problem is, and this is what I fight with, because you've hit the nail on the head, exactly what I fight with all the time, is the fact that I make my living from my films.
Right.
That's it. I don't make money from. I do music videos as well. Right. But that's pretty much it. This is my living. So if I want to just do pure Neil Johnson art, it may not sell. I've still got to think about the dollar.
Of course.
I've got my movies have to, like Alien Armageddon. You can look at that, but there is a lot of me in that. If you really look at the movie, there's a lot of me.
Fuck yeah, you're an alien. You're living within a man's skin.
Exactly.
As a strong woman.
I'm a creature. But I mean, actually, you haven't seen the film. You've got to see it.
Oh, Jesus,
you'll understand
Neil.
why. No, these slug creatures inside people.
You're
with
like
teeth.
Natasha Hendricks' fucking species.
Yeah, it's a bit like
another
that.
strong blonde woman.
Gosh, oh my God, I
know.
with her. The chick from Terminator 3.
Oh, Christina Loken.
3?
Yeah,
4.
Christina Loken.
3.
It's 3.
Yeah, it is
Christina
3.
Loken.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no.
The outfit, everything about the hair tied back. Mm-hmm. So impressive.
She was like in Blood Rain and stuff like that. Yeah.
God bless her.
Yeah.
God bless her mortal soul. But it's for me. You've got to walk the line. You have to sell. Like Alien Armageddon was probably my most successful movie, profit-wise.
Right.
But Humanity's End was more of me, and it didn't make as much money. But the weird thing is that is the most successful. I get more fan mail from Humanity's End than any other movie, and more talk about it because there's a lot of me in that.
And do you want to do the Hollywood thing?
Of course.
You know what I just saw last night? Edge of Tomorrow.
How was it?
It was fucking awesome.
I want to see that.
I was so not into the idea of watching Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt's Edge of Tomorrow. I like everyone involved, but just the idea of it, I was like, okay, well, didn't we just get the Tom Cruise movie a few years ago that looked pretty similar, and it's Tom Cruise shooting guns, and and I liked that movie. What was it called?
The White Ball movie?
Yeah, I liked that movie, but I wasn't too excited. I just went because it was a free screening. Our friends at Nerdist put on this free screening, and I took my wife, and
I love the art direction and color grade in that.
The movie is awesome. Tom Cruise, he has to relive the day Groundhog Day style. Groundhog Day style. He relives this day every time he dies in combat. He has to go back to the same spot. The reason for it isn't some miraculous random coincidence of the film. It's grounded in some science in the film with the alien, the aliens that they're battling that are invading the Earth, and they accidentally cause him to have this power.
Wow!
And Emily Blunt's character has had it, and that's why she recognizes
it. Okay.
And not only is the movie awesome, it's got like Gears of War style action. The movie's fucking hilarious.
Wow! Really? It's got comedy.
It's got so much comedy in it because. He basically has to do the perfect speed run. If it's like a video game, he has to basically play the video game. Okay. He's trying to win the war,
right?
But he has to play the game perfectly every time. And if he messes up, he might as well go back to the beginning and hit the reset button.
Wow!
So he has.
I know. I saw the trailer.
So Emily Blunt or him have to kill him. Yeah. To reset the day and be like, all right, well, we fucked up and we're not going to win the war. Let's try it again. And some of it's hilarious.
Huh.
Not only the way that he accidentally dies, but just the scenarios he ends up finding. Because he'll try different things. He'll be like, all right, well, that wasn't the right way to go. Yeah. Okay, let's try again. And it's really damn funny.
Wow.
And ultimately, it turned out to be a really good film that didn't break its own rules.
Right.
And the characters didn't have to act dumb for things to happen.
Nice. Well, see, and that's probably good. See, I like when I hear about movies like this.
I thought it was great.
Because what it does, it opens up the doors for people like me to maybe get more, recognition, or not recognition, but my movies can be more popular.
Right.
We had a series of flops. I think it was like 2012. There was a whole bunch of movies. One year we had a whole bunch of movies that were all terrible.
Right.
And they're all kind of sci-fi like. And I thought, this is terrible because that means my movies are not going to be popular.
It was like the Will Smith one.
After Earth and stuff.
Yeah.
Which I didn't mind, but I just thought it was a bit You know what I was looking at, and it was just too much for his son. You know, it was just like, man, I can see what they're doing here.
But and that affects you. So there's a bit of a trickle down effect.
Oh, a complete trickle down. You know, like, okay, I go back to Alien Armageddon, and if you see the poster now, if you see the movie Cowboys versus Aliens,
totally.
Okay,
I see the pose.
You see the pose? Yeah. Guess who was first?
Alien Armageddon, right?
Well, and it's just it's bad coincidence. I have a very similar pose. But
you have the silhouette, cowboy head down.
Yeah. Okay, I wanted a cowboy character.
I remember the Daniel Craig character or poster. Yeah, I remember.
And it's almost the same pose, but I'm not saying they ripped me off. It's just how life goes. We got so many photos, and that was the pose that looked good because I didn't want to. I just hate people facing the camera smiling. So that's how it looked. It looked good, but the idea originally was it was meant to be a rip off of. Following in the footsteps of Battle LA. You remember that movie? Of course. Which was a big lead up, but it didn't do so
The Aaron Eckhart movie? No.
Yeah.
I think I'm the only one who saw it in the theater.
No, I enjoyed it. I thought it was good, but...
I thought it was cool.
It's... I had the cowboy character in there anyway, because I thought it was cool, because I was ripping on Serenity.
Right.
And that's where my, Firefly, that sort of stuff. I wanted that sort of thing in there, because I wanted some guy who didn't talk much, who looked cool with a hat, and he was a Marlboro man, by the way, and he's an actor I knew, and I wanted to stick him in a movie, so that's what it was. And next minute, so we didn't capture the thunder of Battle LA, but thankfully, Cowboys vs. Aliens came out. I had a very similar poster. It hit the market at the same time, and bang, we sold many copies. 50,000 Blu-rays in Walmart.
And the funny thing is, Alien Armageddon is probably 5 times as good a movie. No. Cowboys vs. Aliens.
Did you read the original comic?
Oh yeah, the original comic is different, but it's completely good.
Yeah, but it's...
You can see why that idea sold.
Yeah,
but I mean,
it's a great concept.
It felt like it was way too many people in the pot. Like when you see like 90 writers on the freaking screenplay, like it's a problem. And I'm being
I know.
I'm exaggerating, but there are a lot of hands in that pot on the Cowboys and Aliens.
Exactly, and it was. Look, the thing was, it was a slight commercial hit. It did make some money. It did make a profit, and people were looking for that type of movie, and they got confused when they saw my movie, thinking it was the same movie. And Netflix and
more power to you.
And I was lucky, you see. But that's the thing. It comes back to that whole marketing thing. You've got to kind of think what's going to be hot now. I happen to know there's going to be a Boba Fett movie coming out soon, and I'm all over that because I live in the world of Boba Fett anyway. And there's a Star Wars Episode 7 movie coming out, so I'm so happy because I do those movies anyway. So it's got to have to be a bumpy year for me next 3 years because I want to do those sort of movies, and I got those movies coming out. But
did you see the Millennium Falcon set?
The set?
Somebody freaking put online spy shots from like L Street Studios or someplace in London. No. They're building the Millennium Falcon.
I heard rumors, but they have photos already online.
They're building the Millennium Falcon.
I've seen the Tatooine
for Episode 7. So I'm kind of not cool with Tatooine. Like I don't believe it makes the world seem. It makes the whole galaxy that seems so expansive as a kid feel very small if they keep going back to effing Tatooine.
I know.
It's like how often are you in freaking Corona?
Not often.
Yeah, but what if you kept ending up there, even though it's the ass end of the universe?
I could say that it's happened to me at Canoga Park. Yeah, I know, it's a horrible feeling.
Right.
But have you seen the images from Tatooine? Because
he did that whole video. J.J. Abrams did that whole video. Yeah.
No, but there's other photos from TMZ and Daily Mail, and they've got this giant fence, and they've got these big giant machines. It looks to me like Tatooine has become a prison planet or something like that.
Let's do it.
It looks cool.
Shake it up, yeah.
Yeah, I think they're trying something different. It doesn't look like the Tatooine we know, because it looks a little interesting. It doesn't look like
Nashada.
Nashada?
The smuggler's moon that was in Dark Empire?
Oh, wouldn't that be nice?
That'd be awesome.
That's a bit like Coruscant, though.
Right.
It's the same sort of vibe.
Mm-hmm. This one's all dark, nasty.
Yeah, well, see, Dark Empire was one of my favorite comics. That had a lot of influence on me, the Dark Empire comic.
And how do you feel about all this, the expanded universe being collapsed and thrown out?
That's a good thing.
Yeah. Some of it is crap.
Yeah, I started I started reading all the Star Wars novels, like the Crystal Star came out, Von der Mack, good writers, but Star Trek writers, and it's not Star Wars, and it just said I started getting bored with it, and I just once they got to the Yuzon Vong and all that stuff, and the expand, I just lost interest. It wasn't Star Wars for me.
And you were like a 35-year-old man reading this stuff.
Yeah, I was.
Holy shit!
But I stopped. I slowed down a bit. I was eating it up as a kid. Splinter of the Mind's Eye.
Totally,
dude.
Remember that was supposed to be the sequel to fucking New Hope.
I had a kid when I was young, and this guy, I was very stupid when I was young, and gullible. And so I read that book like 6 times, the novel, back to back, over and over.
And the Al Williamson comic strips?
Oh, I never saw those.
That bridge. Well, Dark Horse reprinted them.
I know, I've read them since.
They bridge New Hope and Empire, and that, like, to me, that is the definitive bridge between New Hope and Empire.
Oh,
the Al Williamson stuff.
But awesome. All I had was a novel. It's the only spin-off thing, so I had to read that 6 times over. And I studied that cover with.
And you didn't get like the Lando or the Han Solo novels that were coming out.
They're okay, but it's not Luke Skywalker.
But you find out where like Han Solo got the scar.
Oh yeah.
They did that. He fought the pirates.
Lost Legacy and stuff.
Right.
But I had a kid who told me, "Oh yeah, I've seen the new Star Wars movie," and I started questioning him. "You've seen Splinter of the Mind's Eye?" "Yes, I have. We got it on a VHS in high school. I was still in, different, in what do you call it? I was in
secondary,
primary school.
Primary.
Yeah. So we were. And he told me all about this Star Wars movie called Splinter of the Mind's Eye that he'd seen, and he was lying to me. And I spent a year and a half waiting for Splinter of the Mind's Eye to come out as a movie because we had no information in Australia. We were isolated, and I had all these images and visions, and I started seeing pictures from Empire Strikes Back, and I thought that must be the scene where Luke Skywalker was kissing Princess Leia because it was Han Solo. I was so obsessed with the fact that it was going to be a
Splinter of the Mind's Eye movie.
I thought, that must be the scene. I was trying to piece it together. Oh, hang on, what's that snow there? Why is there snow on this planet? And then I honestly thought the first picture, it was in Newsweek, there was an image of Han Solo kissing Princess Leia.
Right.
And I swore blind that it was Luke Skywalker. I didn't think for one second that Han Solo could ever kiss Princess Leia.
Right.
I was wrong.
Yeah.
You're young and idealistic.
So when does Starship Rising come out?
Starship Rising, I believe, comes out in August. We've got a deal through Phase 4 in the US. It's also coming out in Japan and Germany and France and UK, Russia.
Why should the audience watch this movie?
I would say, I'm not sure yet.
Like, what's it about?
Oh, why should they watch it?
Yeah,
why?
Why?
Well, it's from the heart. That's the first thing I can say. There's a lot of, I call it an angry version of Star Trek. There's a lot of reaction in me to nice, happy movies, and so it's a very. I just went into my soul and went a little dark with it, and it's me, and it's very high energy. My big inspiration for it was there's a few minutes in Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, when Kirk and Khan are battling it out in the Mutara Nebula, and that was the most exciting bit of the movie. So that was the genesis for the film, and it's all about big starships battling it out in space and blowing shit up, and there's an energy in the film, and I still watch certain scenes of the movie and I get excited, I get jacked.
That's cool.
It's like, wow, this is so cool. So I made the movie I want to see, and that's all I can say about it. It's about a man's rise up from poverty into becoming a starship captain, and I've actually already shot Starship 2, by the way. It's already in the can. We've got a rough cut, and that continues the story. So if you get invested in Starship Rising, you can wait another 6 months or a year. You'll see Starship Apocalypse, and it continues the story. It's part 1 and part 2.
Isn't the Apocalypse the end though? You should have it's rising, and then the middle is like risen, and then still risen, and then like
nearly there,
like kind of getting soft. That's like a boner.
Yeah.
Starship primed, Starship exploded,
and Starship
cleaning his pants.
Starship, I'm spent.
Starship tired, can't get up again.
Here's another thing.
So there's 2 or there's going to be 3?
Well, I'm still debating, but
they're just going to make them.
I've got the characters, and I'm in love with certain characters in the movie, so I want to keep bringing them back. So you invest in this movie, you don't get 1, you're going to get 2, maybe 3 or 4. I'm doing movies in 2 lots now, like 1 and 2 together. I do 2 movies together now.
All right.
Because it's financial reasons, but it's also, I love making these movies. I love the characters. And you watch the second movie, the characters come to life.
How fast do you write these things?
Very fast.
I know. It's like you make these movies so fucking fast. Well, how can they be cohesive or how do they even make sense?
Again, it comes back to structure. You have to structure things first. It's very important. And I work out the structure. And I've done enough movies now to know what to do. But you've got to remember, it's in my soul. So when I write, I'm writing with a fervor. I'm like, if I had to write a cop, something. If I had to write Miami Vice, for example, I know that's your thing.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
Oh, because I have to research stuff. It gets but it gets boring to me.
But see, for me, if I'm writing about outer space, it's like this light turns on in my head, and I'm just like gone, and I just go, and it's all there. I've already existed in this world. I've lived in this world already for my whole life. So it's not work. I'm so happy. So when you see Starship, you're going to see passion and energy. And I don't want to say the
oversell it or whatever.
The plot is da 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 da.
Right.
I've invested more than just one movie. I've invested a year and a half of my life in this movie, maybe 2 years by the time it's done. And so people deserve to see that. It's not like, oh, this is a job, I'm paid to do it. This is 2 years of my life, and this is a big part of my soul. So whether whether it will resonate with you or not, I can't answer that, but I know it's from inside. And the second movie is even more me, because you see the characters come to life, and it's fantastic. When you see the characters.
Hurry up with that one too.
I'm trying, but I got another movie I'm finishing, Death Machine. It's
Jesus, kid.
I know, I'm in post-production in so many movies, and that's a film I shot in the UK, and that's another situation.
How many days do you shoot this movie? How many days do it take you? Like, do you shoot these things over 12, 14 days?
15 on each.
15,
yeah. And there's a lot of action.
Because, 12, 14, 15, that's aggressive.
There's a lot of action in this shit, too.
Right.
It's a lot of
how
fighting.
many setups do you try and do in a day?
I've never counted. I will usually... Well, I
because action is like
a
shit ton.
Okay. Usually my
one camera, 2 cameras. How many cameras?
Depends on the film. I've shot with 32 cameras sometimes.
Right. That's like the crank guys. The crank. They usually do crank. They do that kind of stuff. 1 or 2 cameras usually. Right. Always on the red or in 4K and everything else. But it will always be 2 cameras from here on in. Because I work better with more cameras. I'm a freak. My brain goes too fast, and this is my day job. So I can. You can get the coverage and get the close-ups at the same time.
I've got ideas going.
Mm-hmm.
But let's see. Look, if I'm doing action, 7.5 pages a day.
Right.
If I'm doing dialogue, 10 pages a day. And that 10 pages means 10 minutes of finished film. Right. But it just depends on the day.
But those 7 minutes of those 7 pages of action are going to be like 2 minutes of film.
I push it like crazy. Right. I'm ramming it down as quick as I can, but I'm excited. And what I got coming up next is like I'm giving myself a break. I'm going to do 5 pages a day instead of 10. And if it's action, I'm going to do 4 pages.
So you're shooting at a TV pace?
At the moment, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's complete TV pace. Some days I do 12 pages.
Right.
You just got to do what you got to do. But I'm just so sick of rushing things.
Yes.
I want to find the art in the moment. I want to find the soul of that moment. And each moment is worth having. And I don't have the budget to spend time spending weeks and months shooting movies. I want this now. I need this. I'm so over rushing stuff. I've had to rush it just to make a living. Otherwise, if I don't make my movie and finish it in time, I'm on the street.
Right, but you see the compromise in doing it that way.
You have to. Otherwise, I've had to steal food a couple of times during the production of this movie.
Motherfucker, I'll bring you some shit. No, you got a Popeyes over here on North Hollywood? I'm fucking with you.
No. You work in Popeyes?
Taco Bell.
You work in Taco Bell?
No.
Can you get me some food? No. But it comes down to that.
Right.
It's like... I love watching Zack Snyder do films, or anyone like that, and I respect the crap out of them. I even respect Michael Bay.
Of course, there's a little Michael Bay in all of us.
Well, he
said every stripper in LA.
Exactly. God bless his mortal soul.
That's a joke that somebody I wrote. I tweeted. There's a little Michael Bay in all of us.
Oh dear.
And then somebody responded with that response, said every stripper in LA. That was so fucking funny.
Yeah, I don't blame him for going down that path, but
why wouldn't you? It's bombastic, and his movies are literally the highest grossing movies that year.
They're so well made.
Everything but the script. Yeah, so well made.
Yeah,
right.
And I get where his head's at. It's not me. It's definitely not me. And I'm more David Lynch. If you want to know what I want to be is David Lynch.
Right.
But I end up becoming more like towards Zack Snyder, like Sucker Punch.
Yeah.
That's a movie you can watch once, and the second time it's more interesting. I watch it as a work of art.
I wrote like a defense article for that.
Yeah, okay.
Because people were hating on it, and do you guys remember that? Long-time Geekscapists, I wrote an article saying it's not Zack Snyder, it's you, and it's like us being hypercritical nerds. And I was just kind of criticizing us as hypercritical nerds. Well, I was told by a friend that Zack Snyder read that article.
No way.
Like a week or two ago, he read it.
Good on you.
And thought it was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
So, but Zack Snyder never called me. But
he should've.
But I mean, it's like, but he got the same kind of criticism after Superman. It was like, okay.
Yeah.
But I like his shit.
I love him. I really like his work. I get him.
Yeah.
I understand him. And Superman, I ate up. I know that everyone has their problems with this and that, but Superman was. And I listened to your episode on Superman. Before I saw the film.
Right.
So
whoa, why'd you do that?
Dude,
spoilers.
I listen to your podcast all the time, and I listened to it twice.
Right.
And then I watched the film. And I was really enjoyed the movie. I was like, this is intriguing. Yeah, a couple of things I would have done differently.
Sure.
But the guy's a genius. I don't care what anyone says. If you can get to that level, I bust my balls to make my shitty movies.
Right.
And I bust my balls. And I look at somebody who can pull off something like that on that level, with that level budget, and most of it's green screen. And that's the hardest thing to do when you're doing stuff in green screen. And you can still get it. Which is
why Gravity got the best film. Like, it's why Alfonso Cuarón got best director, because like that movie on a technical level is like mind-boggling.
But look at it on an emotional level. Right. And this is the problem I'm dealing with the Starship. One, and its lesson two was, it's all green screen, by the way.
Right.
No, not all. 90%, 50% green screen. It is so hard to get a good performance out of actors and get that emotion when you're on a green screen stage. When you're on the real location, it changes everything. And it's you try, you do your best, you push it this way, that way, but it just doesn't have that same texture. And if you look at somebody like
Michael Bay, Zack Snyder,
and they can get an emotional reaction out of people and really capture the real moment there, I have a ton of respect for that. That being said, next movie, I ain't going to do any green screen. I'm going to be all on location, and I'm just, and I got a couple of things up my sleeve very soon. I'm about to do the real Neil Johnson art movies. I'm going to say fuck the marketing, fuck trying to rip off another movie or follow on the back of a blockbuster.
Yeah.
I've got two up my sleeve, and I'm about to do those. But you got to pay the penance. So I'm going to do a couple more, so
you can afford the month that you go and make your art film.
A few months.
Okay.
It's going to, it'll
You're running around like Van Nuys in North Hollywood making your movie.
I'm doing on Van Nuys next.
Let's fucking do it.
Yeah. But I'm paying that penance now so I can earn the right to do an art film.
Sure.
It's still going to be marketable in sci-fi.
I was telling the meeting I had before I came over here. I was telling this young kid. I was like, one for you, do one for them, one for you, one for them, one for you.
Well, for me, it's three for them, one for me.
Right.
Because you've got to. The market's changing.
Right.
This is what people don't know about the film industry. Oh, if 3-5 years ago it was a certain way. If you want to make a movie and sell it now, your window is narrow, so much narrower than what it used to be. And I can make sci-fi, and I can sell it, and I can make a profit. Not a big profit, but I can make a little living from it. And if I was doing drama, I would be screwed right now. I'd have a real job.
Right.
I'm glad I do sci-fi. It's the hardest thing to do, but that's why it takes so long, so much work. Nobody else can do what I do.
Right.
And that's the thing. If I want to do a movie, I can now dream it. I can do it.
But you do the effects and editing and all that stuff for yourself?
Well, the editing, I'm now palming off to some other people. I've often had editors. I do it if I have to. I do the final polish myself.
Sure. You should sit in on
the
that.
effects, it's a 50-50 thing. It's mostly me.
If you're green screen, every single one of your shots is an effect.
Yeah, dude, it kills me.
Yeah.
I'm doing it in 4K resolution. For those who don't know what that is, those
are crunchy files.
Those
files are pretty damn crunchy.
Gigantically.
So usually you're not working at them with full res, and then you're assembling them later. Like it's a pretty nasty process, and you need a pretty damn fast computer to be doing it.
Banks of computers.
Banks of computers.
12 terabytes of data is what I'm currently hooked up with.
It's Geekscape. They know what you're talking about.
You know what a terabyte is. In my place, I have 200 terabytes of hard drive space.
Yeah, so the great Van Nuys fire of 2015 will know where it originated.
No, I have a safe with my backups. Yeah,
it doesn't keep the damn apartment from burning down.
That's true. Yeah.
Neil, August we're going to be looking for the Starship movie.
Yes.
Let's do something at Comic-Con too.
Yeah, we'll be there. I'm going to be there possibly for Space Command. I'm sort of involved with that.
Well, they come to the booth every summer, so you'll be doing
okay. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, we have our booth. Come do something with us at our booth.
Yeah, and Nobility was the other thing too.
Yeah, EJ stuff. You guys remember Cass Anvar and EJ being on the show a few months ago?
Yeah.
Talking about that. Cass from Assassin's Creed. Yeah.
That's a comedy. Sci-fi comedy. It makes me so happy.
No, I think you're a funny guy.
It's a funny show. EJ's a funny guy.
Well, I'm not going to talk about somebody's looks when he's not here.
Yeah.
So, guys, where can we find Neil Johnson's stuff online?
The best way to go is www.empire.com, but EM minus sign, minus P-I-R-E. EM minus P-I-R-E.
Empire.
Yeah, it's the only one.
I got it.
My company's Empire Motion Pictures. It's the only one I could get.
Yeah, it's close. Like a gang thing. EMPIRE.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's a bit 90s, isn't it?
No, well, I wasn't. Okay, yeah, I said it.
It is.
Go for it. It's on a GeoCities site. Like it's not like
it's just a website, and you can link to buy the movies on Amazon and everything else. And
are these things on like Netflix and stuff like that?
A lot of it is, yeah. Alien Dawn, which is a rip-off of War of the Worlds, by the way, and it is War of the Worlds. I wasn't allowed to call it War of the Worlds.
Right.
But I did a War of the Worlds.
I want to watch that one.
Yeah,
I like Alien Dawn.
Yeah. Well, Alien Dawn, Alien Armageddon. I don't know where Humanity's End is because the distribution company went broke. I want that to get released again. You can buy it online. I know I have some through the website or something, but you know, this stuff is hard to get because I've been doing this since '97.
Just go to Australia and join a cult.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I'm just joking.
Oh, I should put that documentary up actually.
Right. Please do.
Cult. It's on the DVD. It's on the Bipolar Armageddon / Nephilim
box set.
Yeah, the box set. Yeah.
At Best Buy.
Squeezed onto one disc. But it's on that DVD.
They like MPEG 4s are all nasty and they look all.
They're not too bad. No.
All right. So there it is. m-pyre.com. Obviously, you can find him probably on Twitter.
I don't tweet very well. I am
know,
on
but
Twitter,
like Facebook and all that stuff.
Director Neil Johnson on Facebook. Apparently, I'm tweeting Instagram. I'm tweeting lots of photos from the set and pictures of me eating.
Cool.
You know.
And we're Geekscape. We're going to go to E3 next week and we're going to play some video games. And so be looking at our YouTube channel, geekscape.net, and or Geekscape TV, and we'll be finding all these videos. And then, of course, we'll be at Comic-Con with Neil. Yes. In July, and keep checking Geekscape.net and our Facebook and Twitter for all that stuff. You know, we're real easy. So we'll be talking to Neil again in August when the Starship Rising rises.
I got to say one thing.
Yeah, go for it.
You did that April Fool's joke
with the Nerdist thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we said Geekscape was bought by Nerdist.
I believed you.
I know you stopped subscribing to the show.
I stopped listening to the show. And I was like, I saw you. I was like,
at WonderCon, I saw you, and you're like, why are you not doing the show anymore? I said, what are you talking about? Yeah. It was an April Fool's joke, Neil.
I know, but it wasn't.
I can't stop doing Geekscape.
I know. Dude, I was so happy. I had to catch up with all the episodes. I was so happy.
That's so damn funny. You hate Nerdist that much.
Well, I don't know. Who are the Nerdists? I didn't listen to Geekscape. I don't listen to Nerdist.
I know.
Should I?
Whatever. They're the reasons I got to see the movie last night.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, they're fine. They're cool.
Supporting.
They're our friends.
Yeah.
But yeah, Geekscapists. We'll see you guys on the next episode. Neil, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, sir.